Hello, welcome back to Next Stop Life. It is Natalie and Lee, and we are here in Glenwood Springs, Colorado at the Iron Mountain Hot Springs, which is what you see in the background here. We're actually in a pretty hot pool. It's 105 degrees. We're not in it because it is too hot, to be honest. We realize we're both fire signs that can only handle a little lower than 100 degrees, and then that's a little relaxing, but this is a little too much. So
we were in it earlier, and we got our hotness in.
We got enough of that. So we're ready to do a little talk because we have such stimulating conversations at breakfast with people. It's so awesome. So
completely out of the blue and random. Like, again, openness.
Just completely
open to other people, and other people that are open will be open to you, and you're gonna connect with the right people.
Absolutely. And that's what happened again this morning with this couple that he's not quite retired. He's actually a judge, and very respectable people and enjoyable.
His wife was awesome.
And his wife was awesome. She was just such a breath of fresh air.
I didn't even catch what she did. She said she really loved what she did.
Yeah, we don't even know what she did. But either way, like, what it got us on the topic of talking about why we're doing what we're doing, because that was kind of like, they're like, well, what are you guys doing? Well, great question to answer, and it's because we knew there was something else that just was not there, was not present with where we were at before, and there was something that was missing, and we always looked forward to when we were going to travel next, and we couldn't quite put our finger on it. We're like, yeah, it's rejuvenating, but we love what we do. Like, we love, like, chiropractic, and we love our profession, and we love everything about it. Like, what is it that, like, why we love traveling all the time?
And then what's missing? Like, what is it that's missing? We had, it seemed like we had everything. To most people, we had everything that you could possibly want. And on the outside, we didn't really let it show too much, like, because it was like, oh yeah, we kind of do. Like, we have no room to complain whatsoever at all. Like, no. We're really grateful for everything we have, but there was still this piece that we were just like, we were searching for something. I was like, what is it that we're continuing to look for?
Right, exactly. And what we've realized as we have our conversations and time has gone on and we're traveling around in these beautiful places like this that you're seeing, we're looking to see where we actually want to settle down. Like, where we are at, we never intended on settling down there. We intended on being there for the amount of time that we were there, for the reasons that we had, but we never intended on settling down and starting a family there. And it just so happens that we're at that age where all of our friends around us and, like, even our loved ones are having family. Like, they're starting a family, they're starting to have kids, and it's not that we don't want that, because we certainly do, but we did not want to do it there. Like, we knew there was a calling, a pulling to somewhere else, and we realized that every time we traveled, we were, like, searching in the back of our head, like, oh, what do we like? What do we not like? Like, what is our ideal spot for where we want to start a family, and then we want to continue on.
And we were picky as hell. We'd go through these conversations back and forth. I mean, we've had them even recently.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you know what? I love the mountains. And you're like, oh yeah, but I don't want to live in the mountains. Like, oh, you know what? I love the beach. Yeah, but I don't want to live at the beach.
I don't want to be right
and then like, oh, you know what? We love, like, the deserty feel of, like, Arizona and stuff. You're like, but it gets really, really hot there. It's so hot. And then it's like, well, yeah, like, well, what about, the city? Like, oh, we love the city. And
but
then it's
New York
like,
City is so congested.
But it's too congested, and we need space. And it's like, well, what about the rural areas then? And it's like,
oh,
but we want stuff. We want neighbors. And
Where's
we want
the closest Whole Foods?
Yeah, we want stuff that big city amenities have. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, we don't know what the hell we want. And
what do we want?
And I think that's where that's where the travel bug has really come from, is because we're like, you know what? You only get to explore. Most people just kind of, like, bloom where they're planted. For us, we don't really like it. That doesn't jive with us. Mm-hmm. Like, that whole, like, just bloom where you're planted doesn't really for us, it's not part of our path. What we want to do is we want to soar like eagles, soar through the sky.
And go everywhere, because we really do. We are explorers and at heart, and we really do want to explore to find what resonates with this, with both of us. You know what I mean?
And it could be partly too because we're both very analytical people. Like, and so because of that, it's like, oh well, before we make a decision, we want to have, like, the best data possible, and for where you want to be
smart about it. We just want to be smart about it.
Yeah, where you want to live, and where you want to, like, what parts of the world that you want to experience. Like, how can I comfortably choose that this is the place for me when when the world is so accessible, right? It's very accessible. It's not like you're in the 1700s and it's a ridiculously hard to travel very far distances. Like,
I mean, every person that we run into, like, even
within 24 hours, you could be anywhere in the world, anywhere in the world.
Everywhere we've been to, there's people that are like, oh yeah, I just relocated here. Like somebody we ran into yesterday, this beautiful hike that you'll see pictures of. She was like, oh yeah, I was just came from Florida, and now she relocated to Colorado and this area, and now she's relocating to Denver. And it's like how easy it is to just travel and decide, you'll attract people that are like you the more you get out, because if you stay in one place, maybe that's the place for you, but if it's not the place for you, you will find that you won't exactly attract all the people around that you'd like to like help you expand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And once you kind of what our goal now is, like, before it was just kind of like just be in the moment, and it still really is that. But if we have like an overarching goal, it's kind of like experience as much of the world and different areas as we possibly can, in different cultures.
Analytical, cultivated, like you truly decided where it is that you want to root,
mm-hmm.
rather than just going based off of where family has been. That's where you started. That's where you know people. Like, you can always, you can travel. It's so easy to travel back and forth.
If all you had was vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream, you'd probably be pretty happy with either one of those flavors, and you'd pick a favorite. In our society today, one of the issues is we have choices. We have options. A ton of choices, which creates chaos and confusion. But that's the world that we are living in, is not in this simple, like, choose this or that. Because it's like, well, what if you never had tasted cookies and cream, but that was an option this whole time, and that's your favorite? Like cookies and cream is now like, you're like, oh my God, what was I missing?
Why didn't I have that all
along?
along?
Like, I wouldn't want to find that when I'm like 60 years old or 70 years old.
And wait till
cookies
after
and cream
retirement
is like,
to figure that out.
I had this the whole time, like, at my fingertips. I just didn't explore because I got so comfortable being where I was.
Right. But the thing is, for us, we really weren't that comfortable. We could have made ourselves comfortable, but we really weren't that comfortable, and that's why, because we need to find that spot for us, where
mm-hmm.
it is that we can root for ourselves and then find our comfort, find all of that stability. And we're still going to travel. It's a thing. Like, even where we find our place to settle down, we're not going to stop traveling. I mean, we'll still be going to other countries, but
so we picked up a hitchhiker yesterday.
Yes, first time picked up a hitchhiker from New Zealand. And this hitchhiker, gosh, the people that we attract into our life, he was living out of his van for a year, okay?
2 years.
Or 2 years. But he did it for a year and a half in the United States. And then he he was living in Australia for like so many months. And like, this guy's younger than we are. I mean, I think he's 28. He's 28 years
mm-hmm.
old.
And he's now settled down.
And he's now settled down back in New Zealand.
Funny enough, he's a settled down hitchhiker. He just happened to try to get somewhere, and his friends couldn't take him somewhere. So he's like, you know what,
I know how to do this.
Yeah, I'll figure this out. I'll make it to where I want to go. And he did. And
Super
we
cool.
took him back to his place. But in doing so, we got to chat with him for a little bit, and man, he's had some
life
incredible experiences.
Like so much growth and expansion, where we're like, man, like, wish we would have had that already. So we figured it out at 28 to know where we're gonna land, but we're doing that now.
Yeah,
like,
and he wasn't just some like pot smoking hippie.
Oh,
like,
no,
at all.
Totally
like,
not.
At all. He was just.
But he's a meditative, connected individual that like truly realizes that part of what his discontent was whenever he was living in New Zealand, because he's like, I hated it. I didn't want to be there. Like, I wasn't connected, and he just left. And he went to school in America for a little while. He went to school in Australia for a little while, and he had like bounced all over the place in search for something, and he didn't realize what it was. And it's funny that he realized he was in search of like growth and expansion and exploration to find out who he was.
He's been all over the world.
He's been
all
everywhere.
over the world. And you know where he wound up? He's now back in New Zealand. He says he loves it there now.
He would have never have appreciated it like he does now if
mm-hmm.
he wouldn't have done what he did, which was traveling all around, seeing amazing beauties everywhere, like even appreciating America. But then he's like, New Zealand is just amazing. Like, he was like, it's stunning.
But now it's coming from a place of like choice. He gets to choose it, right? As opposed to like being dictated to, or you're allowing your circumstances to pin you down in one area. He went and explored all over, right? He went and tasted all the different flavors of ice cream, reasonably so for a 28-year-old man.
Yeah,
and now now he's like, you know what? I really like New Zealand, and he can comfortably stay there, and he enjoys it. But now he travels. He's like, you know what? Travel is now part of his lifestyle.
His holiday, like, because he's a teacher.
Yeah. So
so he gets like 12 weeks out of the year that he can travel, and now he's like, he's very directed. Like, he has a reason why he travels where he travels. Where before, I mean, he didn't know what his reason was.
Kind of like what we're doing. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, which is so unlike us.
Hey, let's just go.
He was doing that before, and now he realizes he's really happy with where he's at, but he still loves travel. And so he's very directed and pointed with where he goes. And funny enough, he came back to the States to follow his heart with finding somebody, because he's obviously ready to settle down and find a mate, you know. But yeah, so we just wanted to share that with you, for any of you, and I'm sure many of you. We've had plenty of people asking, like people at breakfast asking why we're doing what we're doing, and we really, it was like kind of a reality that Lee and I kind of actually shared. We didn't like actually share that with each other. We didn't realize it until it just came out.
And this is the first time someone actually pointed out, they're like, you know, almost like this is a strange age to be doing this at. You know, a lot of people, because I'm 30, Nat just turned 29.
He's like, you guys are very unique.
Yeah, like most of the time, he's like, most of the time, people that are doing this are like doing it when they're like 18 to 20, or like, you know, real early, like early 20s or something like that, or when they're retired, right? And we're doing it kind of in a different spot, and they seemed like envious was maybe not the best word, but
they used that, but they didn't use it like maliciously. They meant
they wanted to live vicariously through us. They were excited for where we were, and we're like, well, I mean, this is awesome. Like, this is awesome, and it was nice to kind of help, I guess, outside validation in a way. It was kind of like, oh, like, okay, cool.
It was nice to hear that. It was really nice to hear that. This is neat.
Like, this is a good age to be doing this. We aren't settled down. We don't have a family yet.
Yeah. We're very grounded at the age that we're at. You know, we've had a lot of experiences for us to really make good decisions, and deciding where it is that we do decide to plant, whenever that may be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
that may be.
Yeah, and who knows? I think we're going to be heading to check out some hot air balloons here in
I think we're going to Albuquerque here in a couple days, because supposedly there's the International Hot Air Balloon Fest going on.
And I got to bite my tongue, because I was like, I don't want to go to New Mexico. And like, that was like 3 days ago. I don't want to go to New Mexico.
Thanks to
and I think we're going to be going to New Mexico.
Yeah, we're going to check that out. So we will have videos on that. But
never say never.
Yeah, never say never. You just never know. Never know. Well, we hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're going to enjoy the rest of our day here and figure out where our next travel and adventures are going to be. And we will keep you tuned in.